It was a scorching summer afternoon in Oakville, Texas, when one customer's demand for perfection set off a chain reaction that no one saw coming. Meet Kathy Franklin. Her quest for the perfect burger pickle turned into a viral sensation that captivated the internet. What started as a simple fast food mistake spiraled into a public spectacle, sparking chaos, laughter, and a harsh lesson in entitlement. Stay tuned as we dive into the outrageous tale of Picklegate, where one woman's battle for the perfect meal became a viral nightmare. It was a blistering hot afternoon in Oakville, Texas. The summer sun scorched the small town as the lunch rush hit Burger Shack, a humble fast food restaurant on the corner of Main Street. The sizzling sound of meat on the grill echoed through the open kitchen window, the smell of frying potatoes lingering in the air. Inside, employees hustled to keep up with the growing line of cars at the drive-thru, their faces flushed with sweat. The noise outside blended with the clatter of trays and the hum of fryers, and the tight space felt even smaller as every second seemed to drag by. Maria Alvarez, a 17-year-old new hire, was behind the register, nervously taking orders. It had only been a week since she started working at Burger Shack, and each shift felt like a marathon. But today, things were different. It was her first real test. The lunch rush was in full swing, and her hands shook slightly as she greeted customers over the intercom. The next car in line was a silver SUV, gliding up slowly with tinted windows. Inside, a middle-aged woman sat in the driver's seat. Kathy Franklin, with perfectly styled blonde hair and dark sunglasses, was known around Oakville for her demanding nature and high expectations. She pulled up to the window with a sharp look of impatience on her face, immediately glancing at the employee who approached her car. "I'll have a double burger with extra onions, a medium fry, and a diet soda," Kathy ordered, her voice calm but firm. "And make sure there's a pickle. I'm very specific about my orders. Don't forget the pickle." Maria, trying her best to sound professional, repeated the order back to Kathy. "Got it, ma'am. Please pull around to the next window." Kathy's SUV inched forward, and Maria's heart pounded in her chest. She had made a small mistake earlier with another order, but this woman seemed like someone who wouldn't forgive even the smallest error. When Kathy reached the second window, she received her food with a polite smile from Jake Sullivan, the young shift manager. Kathy didn't even glance at him as she grabbed the bag and tore it open. But then, her expression dropped. She pulled out the burger, unwrapped it, and stared at it in disbelief. "No pickle," Kathy muttered, her voice barely a whisper at first. Then it escalated quickly. "No pickle." "Are you kidding me?" Jake froze, unsure of how to respond. The last thing he wanted was an angry customer, especially one like Kathy, who had a reputation for making a scene. "I'm sorry, ma'am. I can quickly add a pickle or remake the burger if you'd like," Jake said cautiously, trying to remain calm. But Kathy wasn't having it. Her perfectly manicured hand shot up, holding the burger as if it were evidence in a trial. "No, I want a new meal and a full refund. I've had enough of your mistakes, and I'm not leaving until it's fixed." At that moment, Kathy whipped out her phone and turned on the live stream. "Everyone, listen up," she announced to her growing online audience, her voice becoming louder, more insistent. "Another mistake at Burger Shack. No pickle again. How hard is it to get an order right? I want my refund, and I'm not moving until they fix it." Maria, standing at the window, looked at Jake with wide eyes, unsure of what to do next. Her nervousness increased as she saw Kathy's phone screen light up with notifications. Kathy's voice filled the airwaves as she ranted about being a paying customer and the injustice of being treated this way. Outside, the traffic behind Kathy's SUV started to grow. Drivers honked their horns, frustrated at the delay. Kathy, however, didn't budge. She held her ground, her eyes glued to the phone in her hand as her followers started chiming in. At first, it was just a few people supporting her people who sympathized with her demand for perfection. But as the minutes passed, more viewers started to join in. And soon, they weren't supporting Kathy, they were mocking her. A teenager, in the car behind Kathy, began filming the scene, and within moments, the video was shared on TikTok, titled Picklegate. The viral video spread across social media like wildfire. Comments flooded in, some calling Kathy's demands unreasonable, while others poked fun at her obsession with a simple pickle. But Kathy, oblivious to the shift in sentiment, continued to broadcast her frustration to her growing audience. "They think they can get away with this," she raged. "I'm not backing down. This is for all of us, for every customer who's ever been mistreated at a fast food restaurant." The situation quickly spiraled out of control. Kathy's refusal to move caused a traffic jam, and the employees inside the restaurant were paralyzed with indecision. They had never seen anything like this before. Jake, unsure of how to handle the situation, tried his best to keep the peace. "Ma'am, please," Jake said, his voice shaky. "We'll make it right. Just let us fix your meal, and we'll add the pickle. You don't need to block the whole drive-thru." But Kathy remained unmoved. "No, I want my meal remade for free, and I want my refund, and I'm not leaving until I get it." As the chaos continued, the situation caught the attention of local news outlets. A reporter arrived on the scene, their camera capturing the absurdity of the moment. The sound of honking horns mixed with Kathy's rants as she broadcasted her plight to hundreds, then thousands, of viewers. The hashtag Picklegate trended, and Kathy's name became synonymous with online ridicule. The absurdity of the situation became clear to everyone involved, except Kathy. The more she fought for what she saw as her right to the perfect meal, the more she was laughed at. The once supportive comments turned into memes. Pickle. Kathy became a joke, and her own followers began to mock her, turning against her in droves. Hours passed, and the scene became a spectacle. The police arrived to try to defuse the situation, but Kathy remained adamant. She was going to stand up for herself no matter what. But by the time the police officer asked her to move her vehicle, the momentum had shifted. No one was on her side anymore. In the end, Kathy relented. After hours of holding up the line, she finally rolled up her window and drove off, leaving the chaos in her wake. The drive-thru line began moving again, the employees inside visibly relieved. But the internet had already immortalized Kathy's meltdown. The memes flooded in. The videos of her rants spread like wildfire. Kathy Franklin, the woman who had demanded the perfect pickle, had become a viral joke. And her battle for consumer rights turned into a cautionary tale about entitlement and social media's power to amplify the absurd. Months later, Maria, the new hire who had been caught in the middle of it all, found herself a minor internet sensation. The calm way she handled the situation, despite the chaos unfolding around her, became an emblem of grace under pressure. Her quiet demeanor in the face of Kathy's fury was praised by thousands, and Maria became the real hero of the #Picklegate saga. But as for Kathy, she learned the hard way that sometimes standing up for yourself can turn into a public humiliation. Her battle for the perfect pickle had cost her more than she ever realized. In the end, Kathy's online fight for justice had turned into a lesson in humility. And for everyone else watching, it was a reminder of how quickly things can spiral out of control in the age of social media.